A2IM, the collective voice of independent music.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight for A2IM Artists Delta Region virtual event. My name is Sheryl Cohen, and I will be the MC for the night. I'm the Senior Director of Culture and Oversight at A2IM, the American Association of Independent Music. A2IM is the collective voice of the independent community. We are a trade association whose mission is to promote growth, awareness, and opportunities for independent music. A2IM started A2IM Artists with the goal of helping independent self-releasing artists optimize their careers. A2IM Artists has two parts. One is events such as tonight's, and two is our online resource guide with information such as a checklist of things to follow when releasing new music and how to monetize on hybrid platforms. Membership to A2IM Artists is free. I'll put the sign up link in the chat throughout tonight so you can sign up if you'll receive information about upcoming events and learn about our online resource guide. Tonight's event, Delta Region Don't Pray for Success, Tips, Tools, and Takeaways, is made up of two panels, beginning with the marketing panel. The Delta region's music history runs so deep, from the origins of blues music to rock and roll's history with Fats Domino and others, Al Bell's Stax Records and soul legend Isaac Hayes, Jimmy Rogers, the father of country music. Today's Delta region music scene is full of all of these genres, as well as R&B, hip hop, and more. We honor this region's past while tonight finding ways to stay present with a future focus. Though tonight's event has been tailored for self-releasing artists in the Delta region, this event is open to all artists because the business of music is boundaryless. We welcome everyone tonight from the Delta region and around the world. A2IM Artist is sponsored by AdRev in partnership with DistroKid. We thank them both. Our event tonight has been organized in collaboration with Recording Academy Memphis Chapter, Louisiana Entertainment, a division of Louisiana Economic Development, and the Consortium MMT Memphis Music Town. An enormous thank you to Reed Wick from Recording Academy, Chris Stelly from Louisiana Entertainment, and Fenton Wright from Consortium MMT for collaborating with us on tonight's event. A huge thank you to my colleague, Alyssa Mark, who had the initial idea to host an event for the Delta region, and this germ of an idea is happening tonight. So very excited, thank you for that. Big thanks to Ross Ford, my colleague who's running the production, and a huge thanks to the entire team A2IM who make everything possible. When our first panel concludes, we'll introduce the speakers for the second panel, which is an Ask Me Anything. I'll be here behind the scenes throughout the night. So if you have any questions about A2IM Artist, feel free to drop them in the chat. Again, my name is Sheryl. If you have any questions for the panelists during tonight's event, please feel free to drop those in the chat as well. And with that, I would like to invite our moderator for tonight's event, first panel, Marketing in the Time of COVID, my friend and colleague, Alyssa Mark.
Thank you, Sheryl. That was a lovely introduction. And hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Mark, and I'm the Director of Label Member Relations at A2IM. Thanks again for tuning in today to our A2IM Artist Delta Region event. This is the third session that we've run as part of the new program. And we're very excited to dive into the first panel of the evening, Marketing in the COVID Era. A very important topic to discuss. And, you know, marketing is a subject that is constantly evolving. As practices change, as new technologies are introduced, we find new ways to connect with fans. But, you know, right now we have to be extra creative and unique in our approaches because this topic is even more rampant than normal because the environment around us is so unstable and unpredictable right now. One thing we're all certain of, though, is how different the industry looks like right now. You know, with the indefinite loss of live music for the foreseeable future, artists are now tasked with being seen, being heard, and building out a fan base in a very different world. So naturally, we've seen a pretty heavy pivot to online marketing and content as the primary way to connect with fans for the time being. But, you know, just being active on social media is not really enough to succeed anymore. You need strategy, you need a story to tell, you need tools to utilize and help you get there along the way. And that's all we're going to discuss today. So I am joined by some incredible peers from the independent music space today, a few of them specifically from the Memphis area, to talk with you all about how to capitalize on digital marketing during the COVID era and what you can get started on right away to help launch your career, to find new fans and to get your music out to people who love it. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my fellow panelists to you all, and then we will go ahead and get started. So guys, if you want to jump on real quick, we can just go around and say hello, and we'll go right into the conversation. So you're on top of me if you want to just give a quick intro first.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? I'm White Sosa, an independent artist from Memphis.
Nice. Renisha?
Hi, I'm Renisha Mays from Memphis. I work at Mime Records. I'm the general manager.
Awesome. Eric?
I'm Eric Fritschi. I head up marketing for mTheory Artist Partnerships. We work with or empower artist-owned labels like Major Lazer and Petit Biscuit. Both Diplo and Petit have birthdays today, so it's a pretty fun day. I'm coming to you from Birmingham, Alabama tonight.
Oh, nice. And I'm coming from Brooklyn. So awesome, guys. Thank you. So let's jump right into things. So the first thing that I want to talk about today is a narrative. So a narrative is a way for an artist to tell their story, to showcase their relatability, or on the other hand, their supreme uniqueness. It's how you get to reach your fans. It's how you help them understand the world you're coming from. And it's, really what you're all about. It's also a distinguisher, right? There are a million rappers in the Memphis area right now. How are you specifically standing out and breaking that mold? That's how you're going to capture the initial attention of the audience you're after. So to kick things off, how do you all define narrative? And, what is the difference between a narrative and a biography when an artist is first getting started and, kicking things off?
Well, I feel like a narrative is more like you're telling a story of yourself instead of a biography, which is just really very descriptive things about that person, just real detailed things. But a narrative is more like you telling your own life story and how you separated yourself from, others, how you separated yourself from, of course, in this situation, other artists, other musicians.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of the interesting facts that kind of come in and give the story all of the meat and bones, as opposed to born here, raised here, did this, so on.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
I would have to agree with White Sosa as well. That is the difference between a narrative and the biography. The biography basically tells about where you're from, who you are, why you want to do what you do as an artist or writer, producer. But the narrative is when the artist goes into the studio with the writer and the producer, and they create the songs, the atmosphere, the vibe that comes with that. And that is when they release that music, that is what we hear. And that's the narrative around if your audience is going to be compelling to listen to it and love it and be interested in wanting to hear more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, how does building out a long-term narrative strategy play into the overall success of an independent artist? I think more often than not, people actually see our music before they hear it first, because they discover it on social media or they see somebody's name somewhere on a playlist. So, what is the long-term goals of establishing that narrative and having it grow with you as you're progressing in your career?
Well, long-term goals is more like, how can I put it? It's like, I guess you just, okay, like you said, when it comes to the media, like people have to see you. And that's what I had to learn, like, just because you putting your music on all platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, stuff like that. Like, yeah, they can hear you, but people really just want to see you. Like, that's how you get booked for shows. Promoters look at YouTube. Promoters look at videos. They want to see your energy. They want to see how you're going to come. So, it's all about people seeing you. It's not just about them hearing you anymore.
Yeah. And did you have a narrative that you started to build out right from the get-go of your career? Was that something that you saw you needed to, further emphasize as you were getting larger? When did that start for you, Sosa?
Man, I've been starting a narrative since I started rapping because I knew it was going to be a big story to tell.
Right on. Cool. And, I would say that one of the biggest advantages of being an independent artist is that you have like that claim and that complete control over your career. And, you really get to define your image. You have so many more freedoms and flexibilities that come along with your marketing options, as opposed to, being on a major, them taking over a little bit more control as to everything that's going out. So why is that so important to pay attention and not to lose sight of as an independent artist?
Because when you're independent, it's like you know, you're not disguised by what a label would want to make you look like. Like, you get to be yourself. You don't have to, you know, go by what somebody else says. You don't have to go by what this CEO says or nothing like that. You just focus on yourself, and you can upload what you want to upload. You can shoot whatever video you want to shoot, and you can look however you want to look, being independent.
Yes, absolutely. So going on this, you know, how can a small up and coming artist, how can they create an effective narrative that will help them grow and, you know, move to the next level, but still maintain that organic connection with their audience, right? You know, I feel like it's so easy to just capitalize on a trend that's going on TikTok right now, or something else that's hot in the media. But, you know, you want to progress, but you still want to maintain true to yourself. So, you know, how can an artist do that? What elements should they look to incorporate into their story that, you know, are a little bit maybe easier to relate to, but, you know, don't completely break them away from who they are?
Right. So for artists not to, you know, follow into somebody else's shoes and to really just focus on themselves, they have to, you know, instead of going into somebody else's trend, like you said on TikTok, you can start your own trend. Or, you know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of people, like, a lot of fans just like money, you know. So it's like, you could do something like this, like by starting your own trend, you could, you know, have a song and you'd be like, hey, I got a TikTok challenge to my song. You could do this challenge with this song. And, you know, the prize is, you know, whatever, like $100, $200, you know, just for a starting artist, because, you know, I'm sure they don't really have it like that. So, you know, that's how they could, of course, build their own fan base, start their own trends, and not have to, you know, fall in somebody else's shoes to catch their own wave.
Yeah. And are you guys ever doing anything where you're bringing the fan into the story as well? Because, you know, when a fan buys music, they're not just supporting the music aspect of the artist. They're doing so much more. They're contributing to the whole story, and they're helping the artist propel forward to eventually reach that next goal. It just very interesting. So what do you guys think, like, you know, for somebody who is just starting out and is looking to slowly build that story, what are some of the most crucial elements that you think should be included or should be paid attention to? And that doesn't mean, you know, everybody has a struggle story. So you talk about that. It's more general things that they can relate to when building out their story. Things that may be relatable, things that maybe make them stand out from somebody else.
Well, you know, so with me, I make music for, like, you know, my fans love dancing. My fans love having fun. My fans love going to parties. My fans, you know, love just turning up all the time. So that's the type of music that I make. So I guess a fan story or a fan's narrative could be like, I guess, you know, listening to my music and having fun with it. You know, I don't ever want to see no down faces. I always want to make positive music and fun music so that my fans could connect and so that my fans can have fun too. And a fan could always, you know, support harder by just, you know, buying merch, sharing that link with their friends so their friends can become a part of that fan base. And so everybody can connect as one.
Nice. And more on the label or the industry side, Renisha and Eric, when you guys have an artist come to you who's still very much in the developmental stage, are you taking like a front hand and helping them craft that narrative themselves? Are you kind of letting them go? Are you basing it on their audience? Are you keeping it specifically to them? Like, how do you help them push forward?
Okay, for the label artists here, they also have creative ideas and control as well. So they have input on everything. We also sit down and we listen to the music. That's number one. We listen to the music and we try to find the narrative around that and create a rollout plan around what do we want to do, especially with everything being virtual being king right now. So we try to figure out ways where they can go live and actually have a conversation with their fans first before we realize, hey, let's not just put the song out. Let's see what the fans say. Let's see what they're talking about. You engage with them first. We try to make sure that they understand that we're human. We go through the same emotions that you're going through that's going on in the world right now. So we try to connect with them as well. And that's a part of, just like I said, going live, talking to them, seeing what they're feeling, and then we'll start releasing music from there. And then once we release the music, then we'll ask them, hey, how do you feel about this song? What do you think? You know, we just allow them to be a part of the process.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
For us, Alyssa, I think our role is, we see it as like a coach. So we work with artists who are committed to remaining independent. And I would imagine that any artists that are tuning in tonight are not doing it as a hobby or just like a little fun summer thing, but this is who they are. The music business is a difficult business, so you got to love it and be committed to it. So to make a sustainable career in music, you have to have a committed fan base. And the way you do that, we believe, is through storytelling. That's how we as people connect to things. So we tell our artists that your number one goal is to create content and storytelling to get fans to connect to you. That's really, for us, the main artist goal. But then it's the marketer's goal to go and get that content in different places and bring exposure and bring people into this community. So it doesn't matter how small it starts. I love so that you already know what your fans do with your music. I think that's real important for an artist to figure out early days. How do people use your music? Is it to party to, or to cry to, or to lean into the lyrics? What is it? And if you meet them halfway, it's incredible what artists or what fans will do for you and with you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. And, storytelling goes beyond just the fans too, right? Like anytime we talk with members from Spotify or from any of the other DSPs, Apple Music, and, we have somebody complaining that they're not on a playlist, the first thing that Spotify comes back to us with is like, what's the story? What's behind that? What's going on? What can we capitalize on there and help to propel this person forward? So, something to think about when you're after all of those playlists, which really shouldn't be the end goal anyway. We'll get into that later. But, it goes beyond just reaching the fans. It's also how all of the services will interact with you and will eventually help to propel you forward too. But yeah, so going over to fans, let's move to engagement a little bit. So, once you've got your narrative established, now what? How do you get it out to the masses? And better yet, how do you engage fans around it? So to begin here, it would be nice to hear about some of the marketing strategies that you've been working on with your artists this year, and how you've been effectively engaging with fans, especially because we are in such a pivotal moment in time right now with the loss of meet and greets, in-persons, live concerts. It's just been a really big difference. So, what are some of the successful strategies that you guys have found for smaller and larger artists to just effectively reach their fans and, make that connection, create new ones?
Well, for me, to connect to my fans, what I do is of course, going Instagram live, and then not just me being on live, I'm adding my fans to the live so that when their friends join the live, boom, now they see who I am if they never knew who I was before. And while I'm doing that, I could be playing some music of mine, and they might like it and they'll want to follow me and tune in more. And then, of course, some other marketing strategies is like, of course, Instagram got a thing now where you could pay for Instagram ads, put your music video on there, boom. And instead of it going, you could either make it go to your page or to the video. I usually make it go straight to the video. When I attach the link to the promotion, I make it go straight to the YouTube video so they can see the full music video instead of just coming to my Instagram profile. Because, you could already see my Instagram profile through an Instagram ad, so there's no point of them going to my Instagram profile when they could just go straight to the music video, because that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm. And are you going on with like pre-created plans when you go up on IG Live? Are you just going and like shooting the shit with people? Like, what's the end goal there when you're on? Are you playing songs? Is it very spontaneous?
With me, it's never really pre-planned because I like everything organic. I want them to feel the real energy, and I want to feel that energy too, just it being raw. So, you know what I'm saying? When I go live, I see who joins, and I just choose random fans, and whoever gets on from their live, boom, now they're connected with me.
Nice. And guys, what types of engagement are you going after? There's passive, there's active. Somebody could stream your music but not be involved in your narrative. Somebody could be heavily involved in your narrative and follow you all over. What have been some of the most attainable engagements right now during COVID that you've been able to go after?
One of our artists, Jessica Ray, she's a dancer. So TikTok dance challenges have been really, really successful for her. So we've had a lot of people to, retweet or repost or reshare her dance challenges on several songs that she released over the summertime. Brandon Lewis is one of our artists as well. His fan engagement is more so like they love to see him in the studio recording a song, or he allows people to come in while he's actually songwriting, and he'll ask them feedback as when he plays the music and what they would think about it. And sometimes things have changed and, within that process, and, the fan will go, yo, he took my advice, so that's really kind of how they engage with their fans, because they're really, really close to being with them when they're creating the process. But like I said, with Jessica Rae, is more dancing. She loves to dance. She loves to sing as well, but TikTok challenges have really been great for her.
Yeah, TikTok has kind of changed the industry as a whole. It's pretty insane, especially for independents. I actually just read this really great article the other day that this old Mac DeMarco song, which was like not even, he's an independent artist on one of our labels, Captured Tracks. He had an old song from his catalog that randomly got picked up for a viral TikTok dance challenge. And it was like just the intro of the song. It wasn't even the full body. And they ended up seeing like a 350% spike on organic streams outside of TikTok. So these platforms that do these challenges, TikTok, Triller, all of those, it's insane what you can see happen as an after effect from that. And that's really, I'd say, one of the biggest measures of engagement is seeing those afters.
Yes, I totally agree. Like I said, you have a lot of songs that people put out and they don't think, hey, let me do a dance routine on TikTok, and other people will gravitate to it and start to engage and do it as well. So I totally agree.
Yeah. So
it's amazing. It's an amazing. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Eric, were you saying something?
I was just going to add that first of all, it's an amazing time to be an independent artist. I don't think there's ever been a better time. The biggest DSPs in the world are creating tools specifically for artists. The industry has really been built for itself, not for the artist. Maybe it still isn't, but somebody like Spotify, their mission statement is to empower 1 million artists to make a living off of their art. And so I would encourage brand new artists to lean into those tools. There's some really like fun and flashy things to do with different platforms, but the real bread and butter probably for everybody is going to be Spotify, YouTube, Apple, those streamers. Once you get a fan engaged on one of those platforms, they kind of remain engaged. And we can talk about recommendation engines maybe, but like as they built these recommendation engines, instead of you having to impress a radio programmer or a press person, you have to impress the fans. So when you're going live on Instagram and finding new fans and getting them into whatever their favorite streamer is, those recommendations will harness that activity and push your music to new people. And I think this is one of the best things. It doesn't matter how big or small you are, you can create a circle of a few people. And if your music reacts, you can keep that circle growing by creating engaging content for them.
Yeah.
And for our viewers, just what do you guys consider an engagement on a DSP, just so everybody is on the same page? Stream, is that a follow, is that a playlist addition, or like what are the top things we should be paying attention to on the DSPs for engagements?
For me, it would be that evergreen, the follow, subscribe, because then you have that person for a long time. You've signaled that you're serious about it. I'll take a stream. A stream is a way of, it's the new radio play to bring them in. But if you can get somebody to actually follow you, share it, add it to their playlist, those are the real most impactful engagement tools, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. And a follow on Spotify is also going to trigger you for the New Music Friday playlist, right? If you're already following an artist, when they release new music, it's automatically going to go over to that New Music Friday playlist.
For release radar, but that's right, Alyssa. On Friday, everybody gets their own, new music. And that's unbelievably powerful. At some of our biggest artist levels, that can be 55, 60% of the first week plays, even if we're getting huge playlists. So for a more up and coming artist, what a great way straight to fans. You don't have to worry about a playlist editor liking it and adding it. You can go straight to the people you already know like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of Eric, when he said that, follow, subscribe, and stream, what's very important is how you present that. So you use Canva. Canva, you can pretty much create the graphic that you want that says, hey, subscribe to my channel, or follow me on Instagram, or follow me on Facebook, or hey, YouTube. So we've used that as well. We've used those tools. We also use InShot. InShot is where you can actually put your original track to the actual photo or the graphic that you create, and you can have it on there, and it can say, hey, I'll be on YouTube this weekend going live, or hey, I'm on Spotify, stream my music. So that is a really, really great tool to use. So you can create the graphic content, the visual content that you need to promote, to tell people to, hey, go subscribe, go follow. So those are really, really great things, and they're free.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, and we're going to touch more on tools in just a minute as well. So we'll make sure to repeat all of those. Everybody can get them down and know where to go. But so if we turn to live streaming just a little bit, because that's kind of it's where we are in the oversaturated market right now. It's been tough. I feel like they were super shiny when COVID first started, and we've kind of moved to this general fatigue with online content, I feel like. But, that's not to say that we haven't seen plenty of success stories. It's really just about making that live stream stand out. So Sosa, I did a little sweep of your channels before this session. And I saw that you have 124K IG followers and 30K YouTube followers. What has your approach been this year to marketing? I saw that, I think it was like in the past 6 months, you've released 2 videos per month, whereas it looked like earlier than that, you were not doing that same amount of content. Are you more active now on social because of the virus? Have things pivoted? What's been adjusted for you, and what success have you seen from that?
Yeah, with me, I've always been active on social media. Like even before coronavirus, I just love being on social media, and I love interacting with my fans just because it's fun. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I get so many followers, and why people tune in so much, is because it's my personality. So you know what I'm saying? It ain't just necessarily marketing. What I do is, just me making crazy videos on Instagram, or you know what I'm saying? And that video having something to do with the music that's being put out. So I'll make a little comedy skit or something that my fans will enjoy and laugh at. But in the background, or after, right before the video ends, I'll promote the song, and they'll want to go look at the song. So yeah, just little stuff like that. Just always being active with your fans, always trying to get them included and stuff. Making them feel a part of the family. Like with me, I have a family called Woe Gang. So, you know what I'm saying? When I interact with my fans, I consider them Woe Gang. You know what I'm saying? I don't just separate them like they're nobodies. I treat them like they're family, because shoot, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be getting no love. So I love them.
Yeah, and that is so important, right? To identify those super fans as early on as possible, because those are really going to be the ones that push you forward, the ones that have your back no matter what, that care about every single post that you put up, that are going to go above and beyond the means to support you. So how do you get there then, right? How do you turn a casual listener into a super fan who will go above and beyond and engage with you in all of those areas outside of the music? How do we bring a fan to that next level? It obviously doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. So you really just always have to stay consistent and putting that music in their face. And you always want to make sure that song that you release is harder than the song before, because that means that's going to keep the fan in tune. And that fan is going to be like, dang, dude is really hard. Like, I'm finna really keep up with dude. So, you just got to always stay consistent. If you're consistent, the fan is forever going to be there.
Yeah. Are any of you guys ever doing trial and error? Will you ever put a song up and it doesn't react well? You'll take it down, no big deal, move to the next one. Do you keep everything up?
I've done that a few times. But sometimes I really think it was a mistake. So now if I put something up and it don't do as well, I still keep it up, because it might be a fan that does like that song that the next fan don't. So, the views are going to grow regardless. It might not grow like the other ones, but it's still going to grow. So, I'm starting to keep everything up just because some fans might actually like that song, even if other fans don't.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And going back to that trial and error, have you guys, you have to get too detailed because I know nobody wants to talk about failures, but, have you tried anything that you thought was going to be like really awesome this year and was just the exact opposite?
Yes, I'm talking about. I dropped a video called Cloud Junkie, and I shot it at my school, and I also shot another scene at an Airbnb. But when I shot it at my school, it's like it was really unfair because I be seeing people post vlogs in the school, pranks in the school. But then when I drop a music video, the video went crazy. Like the first week, hit 200,000 views in the first week, and boom, the school sent a letter trying to sue me and all types of stuff. So I had to take the whole video down. And, I wouldn't necessarily say it was just a big failure because the streams on that song still did good. But it was just the fact like, dang, I know if that video would have stayed up, it would have definitely did more than 1 million views.
Mm-hmm. Did you end up re-recording it?
I ended up reshooting the video. And, of course, the newest video didn't do as well because it wasn't as original as the original video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tip to everybody watching, make sure you've got all of your legal check marks in place before you.
Yeah.
But that's definitely not the worst I've heard. And sometimes you can take that situation and like flip it, reverse it, and, use that momentum to propel the other one forward.
Yeah.
I really like what you talk about consistency. I think that's missing a lot in our business. People think that it's easy and they're just going to put out their quick hit and be done. I think it's a lot harder than that. And you have to be consistent. I would add to it also like a humbleness, is that we didn't have a big marketing thing that didn't work, Alyssa, but sometimes we get really excited about a particular song. We think, oh yeah, this is going to go. And we put it out there, and you have to be humble enough to know that the fans will decide. And sometimes they decide not the time, not yet. It could be in a year. So I like that you leave it up. It might not be its time yet, but you have to be humble. And sometimes the big surprise is a different song. The song you didn't think would react is the one that starts to go. And you just have to pivot and be flexible.
Yeah. Yeah, staying consistent is definitely key because everybody's going to have that one big hit. But if you don't stay consistent, you could be real quick to fall off. Yeah. And if you fall off, that's your career. You just lost it all. So, just because you have one big hit doesn't mean you good for life. You have to always stay consistent no matter what. You got to keep dropping. That way, you could have another big hit later on.
Okay, so Sheryl just pinged me, and we have a few questions from the audience. So the first one is, these days, it feels like an artist has to sell personality more than the music itself. Is there any way around this for a wallflower like me? So somebody who may not necessarily be as comfortable on social media, but who, may still be a genuine musician and wants to pursue that professionally.
I've got a couple of these folks. I would say yes, personality does make it sometimes easier because if people are looking to maybe attach to the artist themselves, and if the artist has a big personality, it can be easier. But a lot of the artists in our electronic space are quite curated. They're more like sometimes their music is a bit of an art project, and if their fans use it in a different way, a more cerebral way, perhaps. So I think you don't have to have your personality shine, but you have to communicate to fans. So I would, even as a wallflower, you just have to figure out how do you communicate? You could communicate through visuals or through other means or through poetry or things that are a little bit more deliberate for you. You don't have to be on Instagram Live, in answering your fan questions or being that omnipresent, but you could do it a little bit more curated.
Mm-hmm. And also, if that's your personality and that's your narrative, that may also not be where all of your fans are. They may be looking for something different as well, something a little bit more organic, not so flashy. Okay, and we've got one more, but I'm gonna hold it off for just a minute because we're gonna move over to our tools conversation in a second. I think it'll fit a little bit better in there. So moving on to the next subject. So we've got our narrative down. We know what types of engagements we're after. How do we implement it all? So let's say that we are creating the ultimate toolbox for success for the self-releasing artist, our viewers. What are the most important things to have in there right now?
Consistency, like I was saying, consistency. You have consistency. There is no way like you're gonna fail your whole life in music. Like there's always gonna be that one song that will end up doing good as long as you just stay consistent. So that is probably the biggest tool when it comes to the music industry is consistency, and always don't listen to people that don't know nothing about music, that are just listening to music. If you just listen, like some people that just listen to music but don't know nothing about the industry, don't know nothing about the business side or nothing, and if they try to tell you something, you really ain't got no place in listening to them because they don't know, the real side of the music industry. So always listen to yourself. Always go with what's your best decision. Listen to your gut and always stay consistent.
That's awesome. Yes, those are great, like internal tools to keep at heart. And then what would some more like literal tools, like some platforms, some technologies that our users can take advantage of and utilize? Things like Renisha, you mentioned Canva earlier, smart linking, social posting, how to utilize Spotify for artists. What should everybody be paying attention to? Eric, I think you could probably speak pretty well on how to fully take advantage of what some of the DSPs offer.
I do have some ideas, but Renisha, can you talk about those tools again? That would be cool. Sorry.
Okay. Well, like Sosa said, consistency. And within that consistency, what I would recommend is that you don't just pick one song. Like you said, you have to have about 5 good songs that you think that's good to release and create that rollout plan. And within that rollout plan, you would have that graphic that you will be promoting, that you would use Canva, because I say Canva is a free tool that you can use. Also InShot. InShot is where you can actually upload your original music to that photo, that graphic that you want to convey to the audience. And also Planoly. Planoly is huge. It helps you schedule that consistency. So you can schedule out what you would like to see posted on Instagram and Facebook and even Twitter. So you can create that schedule, that calendar for yourself. You become your own strategist and you create that platform for yourself where you can see the consistency of those songs. And like I said, I would never just go out with one. Go out, get about 5 songs and roll out that plan for about 30 days or 60 days and see how that would work and release those songs through your distributor.
Okay, great. I had just really quickly, I'm putting those in the chat. I had Canva and InShot, and what was the scheduling one you had just mentioned?
Planoly.
Planoly. Is that similar
Planoly,
to?
Yeah. I couldn't hear you. You broke up a little bit.
Sorry. Is that similar to? It's like a content scheduler, like Hootsuite or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly.
Cool.
So sorry, Alyssa. I would add community. It's not a tool per se, but this is something that an artist at any level could use.
Tools.
No, not that. Yeah, just an artist community, building a group around you. And I would guess, Renisha, you're doing this as a local label. Like you could build community around an actual community, your neighborhood, the artists that are nearby you. But your community could also be far flung. It could be chill artists from wherever. But trying to figure out again how your fans use your music, and then what are those affiliated artists that you can band up with, because these recommendations harness fans. If you can get yourself in with a group, then you will benefit as one of them pops off. So if Sosa puts out a song this week, his community will all move up because he's going to be moving traffic to them, and then vice versa. When he's off for a second, but somebody else puts up music. Sosa, I think you've seen this with some of your other fellow hip hop artists. When they've had success, you've felt it too, haven't you?
Oh yeah, of course. When Chopper blew up, right? I felt some of his success because the reason why I felt his success is, of course, it wasn't even when me and him did the song together. It was just like he was supporting me while he was still blowing up, so all his fans was connecting with me as well. So, the success he was feeling, I was also feeling some of that.
Cool.
So that to me would be like really specific advice for fans. Like if you don't know your favorite artist that you want to be affiliated with, well, playlist them. Try to put your music next to it. Follow them on socials and support them. So if you make music that you think Sosa's fan base would like, then make sure you follow and subscribe on all his channels, be present, engage how you can, and see if you can't build a little bit of affiliation. Some of his fans might like you. And then eventually, if you get big enough, he recognizes you. The ultimate community building is collaboration, when you can actually work together and bring both your fan bases together.
Right.
Absolutely. Are there any other things that, artists can take advantage of right now that, let's say, we're using every day at our labels or our, any other service provider in the industry, going back to, again, a little bit of the harder tools like a smart linking asset, how to understand Spotify for artists, utilizing any other free tools that are available to artists right now? What are things that, our viewers should just be on the lookout for and should be taking advantage of?
I ain't gonna lie, the biggest tool as of right now, it's not even necessarily a tool, but it's, TikTok. Like, TikTok is the most trending app probably right now. And, is like, if you can get your fans tuned into your music on TikTok and start trends with TikTok, that's most likely how you're gonna blow up in this day and age.
For sure. And do you guys, just back to the tools, like, are there anything that's free that people can take advantage of? Are there things that are worth paying money for? Just when we're trying to get everybody, up and started in their career, should somebody be signing up for like the executive plan of Feature FM? Can they make it on the free tier right now? Like, when do you bring in the bells and whistles for your career? What do you do when you're starting off?
I can say that here in Memphis, we have the Talent Development Complex, and it's just not catered to Memphis. It's catered to anyone that wants to go to the website. They have free resources there as well, and they can give you a lot of tools, and it's a free membership. So if for everyone that's listening, it's the Talent Development Complex. It's located here in Memphis, Tennessee. They do have hours where you can come in. With COVID being in place, you would have to find out, about how you can go about being there in public, but they do have virtual things that you can take advantage of. So it is like, it's not just for the Memphis areas, for anyone that wants to know anything related to music business, music resources, how to fill out a split, how do you pick your distributor? It's really, really basic things. What's a PRO? How do I go about picking my PRO? So it's really, really great. It's a great tool to for people to go and check out.
Okay, awesome. So we've got a few more questions. I'm going to pop those over to you guys. So what is a tool that you recommend to help with email capture now that live shows have stopped?
Newsletters. So we use newsletters here, and we use MailChimp.
Okay.
So we create the newsletter through MailChimp, and we send them out to the fans, either through the ones that's, we would send the link out usually through YouTube, sometime in Facebook, sometimes in Instagram when they're live. And then if the artist would repost or comment back to the fan, we will tell them about, hey, check us out, or we give out free merch. That's always a good one. When we give out free merch, we have to get that email address. And then once again, you'll get access to that newsletter, so we can capture it through, once again, the free tool, which is MailChimp.
Okay, so some type of basic collateral.
Yes.
Obviously, somebody needs to get something in return if they're going to be giving out a personal piece of information. Something that I can think of, I'm going to do like a shameless plug for the last company that I worked at before I came to HYM, but I was with a company called Feature FM, and it's not only Feature FM, it's Linkfire, it's Toned In, any type of smart linking company. A lot of times there's a lot more back ends of the product than just the front page that you see, which is, one link to send you out to all different DSPs to listen to your music to. A lot of times those types of cool tools come with email capture options, again, where you can do some type of pre-save, and you get an email when you do the pre-save as well, which means you're also following the artist and you get knocked on that release radar. You can run other types of like action campaigns where, the fan can get a free download in exchange for giving email address or something. So I'll put those in the chat as well. But there are a ton of free tools that you can utilize. And probably the difference that we'll see between the free tier and as you get up more and more is the amount of access that you'll have to the emails that you've captured. So let's say you capture 100 emails and you're on the free tier, you may only be able to get to the first 50. So that would be when you'd have to subscribe and go up. But I'll drop those in just a second.
On the more advanced side, Alyssa, I might add a TuneSpeak. I don't know if you've used TuneSpeak before, but it's like a professional sweepstakes company. So you can give away free merch or tickets or something like this. And you get the email address, but then it's a game that fans can play, and they get points for listening to you on Spotify or YouTube or subscribing or following. And so if we're really trying to connect fans ahead of a new release, we're currently running a Major Lazer campaign right now. You can win cash, and to do it, you just listen to the new album and do different activities, and it's a lot of fun. So that's TuneSpeak. I would also add that the DSP for artists, Spotify for artists, Apple for artists, I would definitely try to get access to that as an independent artist, so you can see which songs are your fans reacting to, where are they reacting to them. It's so fun to watch that you might think that you are a local artist, but you find out that you've got listeners in Canada or Brazil or the Philippines, and really be able to track what is happening with your music as you tell those stories.
Yeah. For sure. I've got a question for Sosa. This is Sosa. How do you track your ROI on Instagram?
What do you mean by what's that like?
That's your return on investment. So perhaps this is, if you put up an Instagram ad, how many streams did that equate out to? How many clicks on your profile did you get? Are you paying attention to the analytics behind any type of marketing or promotion you're doing on Instagram, I guess? And also, it doesn't even have to be paid. It could be if you go live, did you see, 10 new followers result from that? If you see this on a frequent basis.
Oh yeah, of course. So when I pay for an Instagram ad, right, for the promotion, towards the end of the really during the promotion and towards the end, you could click something on Instagram, where it says view insights. And when you view insights, it'll show the insights from that promotion. It'll show how many website clicks you got, how many new followers, how many people viewed your page and, watched your page and all that stuff. So that's how I keep up with that.
Cool. Yeah. And I would say, the last important tool is those ad spaces, those Facebook ads, those Instagram ads. As we mentioned earlier in this conversation, a lot of times that people first interact with your music, it's visually. It's them actually seeing something rather than them necessarily hearing it from, a radio station or a playlist or something like that. So putting a little time into, creating a captivating image using Canva or something like Renisha mentioned, and then directing them out through an Instagram ad to your track. I mean, that's going to be way better than going to a playlisting company and giving them a bunch of cash and, kind of crossing your fingers and getting a bunch of bots come in or getting a bunch of plays that don't really equate to the same longevity that you would get from an organic fan base. So really just putting a few dollars behind those Instagram ads and doing your research and making sure that you get, the correct SEO setup and all that can make such a difference.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that a website is crucial for an artist to have, especially an artist who is, just getting started and still established? Or if we have all of these mediums already, we've got Instagram, Facebook. If you have your smart link, you can put all of your social channels on there and your videos. Is that something that, artists really need to pursue at this time? Or is that something that can wait at this
I feel like I just got my website done. So I feel like, when you're a beginning artist, and you just, you're new to the game, a website ain't necessarily needed. But once you start really growing that fan base, then yes, create a website. That way they could, that's another way your fan base could be, interacting with you through your website. They can go straight to your merch on that website. They can, follow you on all socials, on all music platforms and everything like that, just through that one website.
I totally agree with White Sosa. If you're just starting off, getting your feet wet, on down the line, yes, definitely have a website, like you said, for merch and things. But when the world opens back up, tour dates. So we have to be able to go and see exactly where you'll be touring, because you may not put all those things on Instagram right away, but we can see if you'll be somewhere in the region, somewhere close where we can actually come to your show and support you. So that I think it is very important to have a website once you get more in depth into your career.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, if where did we start off? We started off with the narrative. Once we got the narrative, we moved to engagement. Once we're ready for our engagement strategy, we have the tools to implement it. And then I would say the last part of the release or the journey is measuring success. So, how can somebody tell if their efforts were effective or not? Obviously, the way that we measure success for a full blown out high budget campaign is drastically going to differ than how a smaller up and coming bedroom producer is monitoring their stats. So I'd love to touch on some realistic metrics that artists can go by to monitor their success with a campaign. Fan longevity, streaming performance over time, eventual ticket sales once we get back to in-person performances. What are some of the metrics that a beginning artist should be paying attention to?
Well, like Eric said, having that Spotify for artists or Apple Music for artists, you could always look at, when you're on those apps, you could always look at which songs your fans like best, whether it's, an emotional song or a turnt song or, a darker type of song, whichever song your fans like best, that could be what you stick to. Whatever you feel like is your best sound and whatever you feel like the fans think is best, that's the type of music you stick to until you start getting new fans for other music.
Mm-hmm. And are there any other platforms that help? There's Chartmetric, there's sound charts, ways for an artist to easily visualize their data. If somebody wants to sign up for Spotify for artists, how can they go about it and do that, just in case anybody is not familiar who's tuning in right now?
Well, how I signed up was I just went to Google and looked up Spotify for artists, and they just popped up with the app. So, once you sign up, you tell them that of course, you're that artist, and you give them the email or whatever, and then boom, they should give you access to it.
Okay, cool. So everybody go on Google and look that up.
Well, I do have a shameless plug. Beetroot Music. Beetroot Distributor is a great distribution company that actually will help you with your analytics. They have a back-end graphic and matrix that can tell you exactly what's going on with your music. If it's on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, they definitely have a good customer service team that can help you with any questions that you have. So definitely, if you're not familiar with Beetroot Music, check them out. They definitely have great metrics because we use it for our artists as well. Also, another one is Next Big Sound. It's partnered with Pandora, so it can also give you great analytics on what you got going with your music and see what's going on in the back end.
I agree with her. Shout out to Beetroot. I got 2 releases coming up through Beetroot. One dropping on November 14th. So yeah, y'all stay tuned.
That's awesome. So we've got a few minutes left, and I just wanted to touch briefly on community, because this is geared towards the Delta region specifically. So Renisha, how have you felt connected to the Delta region during COVID? What has being part of that community meant to you? And I know you've been pretty heavily involved. You worked at the Consortium before you were at MIME. How have you been staying connected, and what has the general sense, the vibe been in the community?
We never stopped working. So the beautiful thing is that, like you said, I came from the Consortium MMT, but also a lot of people that either went through the program or through the Resource Center, they have either interned now here at MIME. They've actually probably gained employment with MIME. So it's all about, we've connected and collaborated together. And I still get emails, and people did send me a DM and ask questions. So I'm always available. So people still ask me things from when I was working over there. So I'm always making sure I'm connecting with those. And several have signed up with Beetroot, for distribution because of that relationship that I built with them when I was over at the Consortium MMT. So I stay connected with them at all times. Even the people that's on your next panel are really good friends of mine, Anna Mitchell. So we just collaborate and talk to each other and say, hey, what you got going on your side of the city, and let's see if we can bridge the gap and bring things together. Some of our artists have been on their podcasts here in the city, so we just work together. We never stop working.
So never stop.
Renisha,
It's real.
do Do you have a playlist that you can recommend, or do you have a playlist that you all have built that showcase some of these artists that some of us could check out?
We have a Beetroot playlist. I'm gonna see if I can drop it in the chat room for you.
Yes, get that. And while you get that, we'll move to Sosa. Sosa, I also want to touch on that since you're from the region as well. What has it been like to be part of the Memphis hip hop community again, like since COVID started? How have things changed, and how have you guys been staying connected?
Ooh, man, I'm not gonna lie, man. Through Memphis, it's hard because, it's a lot of it's a lot of artists in Memphis. And it's a lot of rappers in Memphis. So, it's hard, but, with me, you just have to find your way to stand out. And with me, it's like, I love to dance. And so, me just always dancing and staying, hip. I don't even rap about drugs. So, people stay tuned into that. They open their eyes and like, dang, dude, don't even talk about drugs. He's dancing. He makes hype music for all of us to dance to. So, that just opens a lot of people's eyes in my city because, a lot of Memphis rap got a lot to do with, gang violence, drugs, guns. I might include some guns and stuff in some of my music too, every once in a while, every once in a blue moon. But other than that, though, I'm mainly just focused on keeping people happy and positive music and, having fun music for people to dance to.
Awesome. And then Eric, I know you're not specifically in the Delta region right now, but just how have your artists been maintaining their sense of community, if you will?
Sure, I can tell you one amazing thing about Diplo is he acts whenever there's a problem. He just acts. And so he was, I think, I think he was live the day after lockdown on all platforms. And that was the rest of us just sort of run to catch up with him. And what we learned from my friend Karen Allen, who's written a book called Twitch for Musicians, the difference between live broadcasting and live streaming. And live broadcasting is basically taking that TV signal and putting it on your computer, and you can watch that, and that's totally legit. When you talked earlier about some fatigue, I think the fatigue is maybe with live broadcasting. Mm-hmm. Sitting in front of your computer, watching something come at you is fatiguing. But live streaming is that building the community around it. And I don't know if you ever saw some of his live shows, but he had a Zoom party and he would take fans and bring them in. Like Sosa, you were talking about on Instagram, like the minute you've got fans in there, you couldn't tear your eyes away because of the shenanigans or the pets or the different things people were doing. And it was a community, and you just stayed and hung out and talked to different people in the chat. So the community that we used to build at live shows, we built online on Twitch and YouTube and Instagram and different places.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I remember I was chatting with Mad Decent right as COVID started, and they told me that they had the entire stream room built out like already. That was the plan before we moved into lockdown. So they were like one step ahead. They were very, before the game started, they were lucky there. But Diplo is also, he's an entire separate character. There's no other artist like him. No other artist who brings in the same sense of communitas, who gets everybody so engaged, who gets everybody so hype up. He's definitely one in a million. So happy birthday, Diplo.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we've got 2 minutes left, and I think we're supposed to stop 3 minutes ago. Sorry, Sheryl. So Sheryl, I'm going to pass it back to you, to take it to the next panel. But Renisha, Eric, Sosa, this was so incredibly valuable. Thank you so much for taking time today to talk with us, to talk to everybody who's watching. I'm going to put all of the resources the tools that Renisha and Eric and Sosa mentioned in the chat as the next panel starts. So just give me a minute to drop those in. And then, of course, if you guys have any questions about A2IM or the artist program, if you want to get in touch with anybody who is on the panel today, please feel free to reach out to membership@a2im.org, and we will get you taken care of. Thank you guys so much. Have a great evening. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. Alyssa, thank you. Renisha, Eric, and Sosa, awesome job.